I just did this whole video without pushing record. Welcome back to DTV. I'm having a great time putting together the videos on the topics that I want to talk about. But I also want to make sure that I'm putting together videos about the topics that you want me to talk about. So I've created this different format where I can answer questions that you ask me about sales, networking, social media, branding, entrepreneurship, professional development, pretty much anything that you want to ask. Heck, I'll dive into some of these topics. And these videos aren't going to be as produced and slick and fancy. Not that all my other stuff is that slick anyways. But this will be just a little more me talking to you guys and answering the questions that you have. So I'm really looking forward to this. If you have questions, leave those in the comments of the videos. You can also hit me up on Twitter, dfishrockstar, or there's a bunch of different contact information in all of the video descriptions. Feel free to email me or even write me a letter. But let's get into a question for today. Of course, I say there's not going to be a lot of editing, and then I throw in an edit. So there you go. But this is a question from Tara, who says, I met a possible contact. We hit it off. I got a business card. I followed up by sending him an email, which he didn't respond to. A couple of months later, I sent him another email, no response. I think I sent a third email a few months later. So it's probably 3 over the course of a year, no responses. When does it become creepy that I'm sending these emails to a guy who doesn't respond? And after how many contacts should you give up? So great. The question really is, how do you network without being a stalker? Well, first of all, I think you're correct about making more than one attempt at reaching out to somebody. I think 3 is a good magic number. What I would suggest though is that the most important thing you can do is if you meet somebody who would be a good contact, you want to actually engage in some sort of relationship as quickly as possible. See, if you just meet somebody once, that's a transaction. That's just one interaction. If you have a second or third interaction, that's how you start developing a relationship. So instead of just sending an email every couple months, I would almost suggest you do that all within 2 or 3 weeks. The other suggestion I would make is that when you first meet someone, if they don't respond to your first outreach, change the channel. And what I mean by that is if you've emailed them, send them a tweet or a LinkedIn message or a text or call them on the phone. But do something different, because there are so many different platforms that we have for communicating with each other that we forget that different people value different platforms, right? So you might be emailing somebody who hates email and just Facebook messages people. And you don't know when you've just met somebody. I think email is always a good place to start because most people do use email regularly. But if you don't get a response there, try a couple other platforms. I still remember, a horrible experience at the time. I mean, spoiler alert, it worked out great. I've got a fantastic wife now. But years ago, I was flying home from Texas. I was sitting next to a lovely young woman. I was a young man at the time. I was single. She was single. We had a great conversation the entire flight back. I asked her for her information, or somehow I gave her my email, and then I never heard from her. Or at least I thought I didn't hear from her, because about 2 months later, I'm looking through my emails, realizing that I had been switching my email provider at that exact time. And in a mailbox was a message from her. And unfortunately, it was too late. I never got in touch with her. So again, you just don't know what's going on in their life. So try a couple of times within those first few weeks to get a hold of them. And if they still don't respond, let it go. Tara, I hope that helps. And if you have any other suggestions about how to help Tara, or things that you've come across in your networking about how to network and not be a stalker while doing it, throw them in the comments below. And of course, whatever questions you have about networking or any of those other business topics we mentioned before, reach out to me. Would love to answer those questions. Looking forward to engaging with you. And I'll see you next time on DTV.